September 17, 1944. Arnhem, Netherlands, 0615 hours. Sergeant Harold Marshall of the 2nd Battalion, South Staffordshire Regiment, pressed his cheek against the worn wooden stock of his rifle and watched German soldiers establishing a machine gun position 300 yards distant. His spotter, Corporal Thomas Hewitt, whispered through the morning mist, "That's a Carabiner 98 with the Zeiss scope, Harry. He's got the modern kit. You sure about this?" Marshall's rifle was a Lee Enfield No. 4 Mark 1T, a design that traced its lineage back to 1895, nearly 50 years old in concept, a full decade older than Marshall himself. The telescopic sight bolted to it was a No. 32 Mark I, simple compared to the sophisticated German Zeiss optics. The whole package looked antiquated next to the sleek German sniper rifles that had terrorized Allied positions for 5 years. But Marshall had trained with this rifle for 3 years. He knew its quirks, its tendency to shoot slightly left in damp weather, the exact pressure needed on its 10-pound trigger to avoid pulling shots. He'd made over 200 confirmed kills with this weapon across North Africa, Italy, and now Holland. The rifle might be outdated, but Marshall wasn't. He exhaled slowly, let his heartbeat settle, and squeezed. The Lee Enfield barked, its distinctive crack echoing across the broken streets of Arnhem. 300 yards away, the German sniper dropped before he'd even settled behind his scope. Marshall worked the bolt, the smooth action ejecting the spent cartridge and chambering a fresh round in less than a second. "Next target," he said calmly. What German snipers, American observers, and even some British officers didn't understand was that the Lee Enfield's supposed obsolescence was actually its greatest strength. While Germany had spent years developing modern sniper rifles with rotating bolts, sophisticated optics, and precision manufacturing, Britain had perfected a 50-year-old design until it could do things no modern rifle could match. The bolt action was faster than any comparable rifle. The magazine held 10 rounds versus Germany's 5. And most importantly, British snipers had been training with this weapon system for so long that they could achieve accuracy modern rifles couldn't match despite inferior optics. The story of how Britain's outdated rifle proved superior to Germany's best sniping technology reveals uncomfortable truths about military innovation, the difference between theoretical perfection and practical effectiveness, and why experience with an adequate weapon often beats inexperience with a superior one. The rifle Marshall carried traced its lineage to 1895 when the British Army adopted the magazine Lee Enfield, a bolt-action rifle designed by Scottish-born American James Paris Lee. The design was revolutionary for its time, featuring a detachable box magazine holding 10 rounds, twice the capacity of most contemporary rifles. The bolt action was remarkably smooth and fast, allowing trained soldiers to fire 15 to 30 aimed rounds per minute, a rate German military observers initially dismissed as propaganda. By 1914, when World War I began, the Lee Enfield had evolved into the short magazine Lee Enfield, or SMLE, a shortened version optimized for both infantry and cavalry use. British soldiers trained relentlessly with this rifle, particularly in the Mad Minute drill, where they fired 15 rounds at a target 300 yards distant in 60 seconds. Experienced soldiers could achieve 20 to 30 hits in this drill. Accuracy and rate of fire that German troops encountering it in 1914 believed was machine gun fire rather than rifle fire. The Lee Enfield's design incorporated features that seemed antiquated even in 1914, but proved remarkably practical. The bolt locked at the rear rather than the front like the German Mauser design. This rear locking system was theoretically weaker, but allowed faster bolt operation because the throw was shorter. The magazine was detachable, unusual for military rifles of the era, allowing quick reloading, though soldiers typically reloaded by inserting individual rounds or 5-round chargers while the magazine remained in place. Most significantly, the Lee-Enfield's rifling used a relatively slow twist rate and fired a round-nosed bullet initially, later changed to a pointed boat-tail design. This resulted in slightly less accuracy at extreme ranges compared to German Mausers, but perfectly adequate accuracy at combat ranges under 500 yards where most engagements occurred. The trade-off was faster rate of fire and easier maintenance, advantages that mattered more than perfect accuracy at ranges soldiers rarely engaged at anyway. By 1939, when World War II began, the Lee-Enfield had evolved into the No. 4 Mark I, the variant Harold Marshall would carry. This version featured improved sights, a heavier barrel, and minor refinements based on 25 years of experience. But fundamentally, it was the same rifle British soldiers had carried in 1914. German military analysts looked at this weapon and saw obsolescence. British soldiers looked at it and saw reliability. The contrast with German sniper rifle development couldn't have been starker. Germany had spent the interwar years developing sophisticated sniper systems based on the Karabiner 98 Kurz, itself derived from the Model 1898 Mauser. These rifles featured rotating bolt actions that locked at the front, providing theoretically superior accuracy. They were topped with Zeiss or Hensoldt telescopic sights featuring sophisticated reticles and excellent optical clarity. Everything about German sniper systems screamed modern precision engineering. German sniper training emphasized long-range marksmanship. German doctrine assumed snipers would engage targets at 500 to 800 meters, sometimes beyond. German optics were optimized for these ranges with high magnification and precise adjustments. German ammunition was manufactured to exacting standards ensuring consistency. The entire system was designed around theoretical perfection, the perfect rifle, perfect optic, perfect ammunition, achieving perfect accuracy at extreme ranges. British sniper development followed a completely different path, one that German observers considered hopelessly backward. Rather than developing new rifles, Britain adapted existing Lee-Enfields by selecting weapons that showed superior accuracy during proof testing. These rifles received telescopic sights, initially the pattern 1918 vintage optics left over from World War I, later the No. 32 sight developed in the early 40s. The sights were simple, low magnification, often just 3-power compared to German 4-power or 6-power optics. British sniper training emphasized rapid engagement at moderate ranges. British doctrine assumed snipers would operate at 200 to 400 yards, occasionally to 600 yards, but rarely beyond. British training stressed volume of accurate fire over perfect single shots. A British sniper was expected to fire multiple shots rapidly, each accurate enough to hit man-sized targets rather than waiting for the perfect single shot. This reflected hard lessons from World War I, where German snipers often fired one perfect shot, then were killed by British snipers who'd fired 5 adequate shots in the same time. The philosophical difference ran deeper than just equipment or training. German military culture, shaped by Prussian tradition, emphasized precision and perfection. The ideal German sniper was a patient hunter who stalked the perfect shot. British military culture, shaped by centuries of colonial warfare against numerically superior opponents, emphasized practical effectiveness and rapid fire. The ideal British sniper was an aggressive soldier who dominated his sector through constant pressure and superior rate of fire. When war began in September 1939, German snipers were clearly superior in training, equipment, and doctrine. During the France campaign in 1940, German snipers inflicted severe casualties on British forces. The Zeiss optics provided clear target identification at ranges where British snipers couldn't even see their opponents. The sophisticated German rifles delivered precise single shots that killed British soldiers before they knew they were being targeted. German after-action reports noted British sniper capability as minimal and ineffective compared to German standards. Why? But this assessment reflected the specific conditions of the France campaign, where German mobile warfare didn't allow sustained sniper operations. The real test came in different terrain under different conditions where British advantages could manifest. That test began in North Africa during 1941. The desert warfare of North Africa created conditions favoring different skills than European warfare. Ranges were longer, often 600 to 1,000 yards across open desert. German snipers with superior optics should have dominated completely. Initially they did. British infantrymen were shot by Germans they never saw, killed at ranges beyond where British snipers could effectively engage with their simple optics. But North Africa also featured harsh conditions that revealed unexpected disadvantages in German precision engineering. Sand infiltrated the close-tolerance German actions, causing malfunctions. Heat expansion affected German scope adjustments. The sophisticated Zeiss optics, optimized for European conditions, performed poorly in desert glare and mirage. Meanwhile, the loose-tolerance Lee Enfield continued functioning regardless of sand, heat, or abuse. British snipers couldn't match German range, but they could shoot when German rifles had ceased from sand ingestion. More significantly, North Africa featured frequent close-range engagements in broken terrain where German range advantage disappeared. In rocky wadis, around oases, in the ruins of desert villages, engagements occurred at 200 to 300 yards. At these ranges, the British rate of fire advantage became decisive. A German sniper might achieve a perfect first-round kill. The British sniper would achieve 3 adequate kills in the same time, firing, working the bolt, and firing again with speed German snipers couldn't match. Sergeant William Jones of the Rifle Brigade exemplified this evolution. Jones had been issued a Lee Enfield sniper rifle in early 1942 after showing exceptional marksmanship during training. His rifle was a selected number 4 with a number 32 scope, the standard British combination. German snipers he faced carried carabiner 98 rifles with Zeiss scopes, objectively superior equipment. During an engagement near Tobruk in June 1942, Jones encountered a German sniper team dug in among rocks approximately 400 yards distant. The German sniper fired first, his shot missing Jones by inches. Jones identified the position, aimed, and fired 3 shots in 5 seconds. All 3 hit within a 12-inch group, killing the German sniper and his spotter. The rapid follow-up shots, impossible with the slower German bolt action, had proven decisive. Jones later wrote in his diary, "The Jerry sniper had the better kit, no question. His scope was clearer than mine. His rifle was probably more accurate, but my Lee Enfield let me work the bolt without losing my sight picture. I could fire 3 shots before he could chamber his second round. In a sniper duel, that's what matters, not who has the better scope, but who can deliver effective fire fastest." This assessment captured emerging British doctrine. German snipers were trained to fire perfect single shots. British snipers were trained to fire adequate multiple shots rapidly. In theoretical terms, 1 perfect shot should beat 3 adequate shots. In practical combat, 3 adequate shots beat 1 perfect shot because the first adequate shot might miss, but the second or third would hit, while the single perfect shot either hit or didn't with no follow-up opportunity before the target took cover. The Lee Enfield's 10-round magazine proved another decisive advantage. German carabiner 98s held 5 rounds in an internal magazine. Reloading required manually inserting rounds or using a 5-round stripper clip. The Lee Enfield's 10-round capacity meant British snipers could maintain fire through engagements where German snipers had to reload. In fluid combat situations, this capacity difference often proved decisive. During the Second Battle of El Alamein in October 1942, British snipers operated in support of infantry assaults with devastating effectiveness. They would identify German defensive positions, then lay down sustained accurate fire at 300 to 500 yards while British infantry advanced. The ability to fire 10 aim shots without reloading, at a rate of approximately 6 to 8 rounds per minute, created suppressive effect that German 5-shot rifles couldn't match. German defenders frequently reported being pinned by British machine gun fire when actually being engaged by single British snipers with Lee Enfields. By 1943, as Allied forces invaded Sicily and then Italy, British sniper effectiveness had improved dramatically. Trained British snipers with experience in North Africa were now encountering German snipers in European terrain. The Germans still had superior optics and theoretically more accurate rifles, but British snipers had superior bolt speed, larger magazine capacity, and most importantly, combat experience that had taught them to maximize their weapons' advantages. The Italian campaign's mountainous terrain created perfect sniping conditions with long sight lines and abundant concealment. German snipers dominated early engagements, using their superior range capability to engage British forces at 600 to 800 yards. But British snipers adapted by closing ranges through patient stalking, then engaging at 300 to 400 yards, where their rapid-fire capability could overwhelm German precision shooting. Sergeant Harold Marshall, who we met at Arnhem, earned his reputation during the Italian campaign. Between November 1943 and June 1944, Marshall achieved 87 confirmed kills, placing him among Britain's top snipers. His technique was distinctively British: move close, fire rapidly, achieve hits through volume of adequate accuracy rather than perfect single shots. Marshall's after-action report from a March 1944 engagement near Monte Cassino illustrates British methodology. He'd identified a German sniper position approximately 350 yards distant. Rather than attempting the perfect long-range shot, Marshall maneuvered to 270 yards, waited for the German to expose himself, then fired 5 shots in 8 seconds. 3 shots hit, killing the German sniper. Marshall's accuracy was approximately 60% at combat ranges under stress. German doctrine demanded 90% accuracy, but with much slower shot cadence. Marshall's adequate accuracy delivered faster proved more effective than German perfect accuracy delivered slowly. The Lee Enfield's bolt action was the key to this rapid-fire capability. The bolt throw was short, approximately 3 inches, compared to the Mauser's 4 inches. The bolt handle was positioned to allow the shooter to cycle the action without removing his cheek from the stock or his eye from the scope. The rotation required to unlock the bolt was only 60 degrees compared to the Mauser's 90 degrees. Each of these small advantages combined to make the Lee Enfield perhaps 20 to 30% faster to cycle than the Carabiner 98. 20 to 30% doesn't sound significant until measured in combat seconds. In a 5-second engagement window, a British sniper could fire 3 aimed shots, while a German sniper fired 2. Over a 30-second engagement, the British sniper could fire 10 shots, while the German fired 6 or 7. This rate of fire advantage, compounded over thousands of engagements, resulted in British snipers achieving higher kill counts, despite inferior optics and somewhat less inherent accuracy. German snipers recognized this disparity and attempted to adapt. They began emphasizing faster bolt manipulation in training. Some German snipers modified their rifles by shortening bolt throws or adjusting bolt handles for faster cycling. But these modifications couldn't overcome fundamental design differences. The Lee Enfield had been optimized for rapid fire from its inception. The Mauser had been optimized for accuracy and strength. Changing training couldn't overcome design philosophy baked into the weapons. If you're discovering these incredible stories of World War II where supposedly outdated equipment proved superior to modern technology through superior tactics and training, make sure you subscribe to our channel. We research deeply into military history to bring you the real stories behind the myths. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next exploration of how experience and doctrine often matter more than equipment quality. By D-Day, June 6, 1944, British sniper doctrine had fully matured. Each infantry battalion included a sniper section equipped with Lee Enfield sniper rifles. These sections operated semi-independently, identifying targets of opportunity and eliminating them without requiring command approval for each shot. This autonomous operation reflected trust in sniper judgment and recognition that sniping was as much art as science, requiring shooters to make rapid tactical decisions. The Normandy campaign showcased British sniper effectiveness in the bocage terrain, the hedgerow country that characterized much of northern France. Sight lines were typically 100 to 300 yards, perfect range for British snipers. German snipers, equipped for longer-range shooting, found their sophisticated optics underutilized in terrain that favored close-range rapid engagement. British snipers dominated the bocage fighting, achieving kill ratios that often exceeded 10 to 1 against German snipers. Lance Corporal Sidney Cornell, serving with the 3rd Division, achieved 42 confirmed kills in Normandy during June and July 1944. His technique was characteristic of mature British doctrine. Identify target close to optimal range of 200 to 250 yards, engage rapidly with multiple shots, relocate immediately. Cornell rarely attempted shots beyond 300 yards, preferring to maneuver closer rather than attempt long-range shooting where German optics provided advantage. Cornell's diary entry from July 9th illustrates British thinking. Spotted Jerry Sniper in Church Tower at approximately 500 yards. Could have attempted the shot, but probability was maybe 40% with my scope in this light. Instead, maneuvered to 200 yards using hedgerows for concealment. Achieved clear sight picture, fired 4 shots in 6 seconds. All 4 hit the tower window. 3rd shot struck the Jerry. This is the British way. Close the range. Increase the probability. Fire multiple adequate shots rather than one perfect shot. The Jerrys have better scopes, but we have better doctrine. This assessment from a Lance Corporal with 6 months of combat experience demonstrated how thoroughly British sniper philosophy had permeated through the ranks. It wasn't just senior NCOs or officers who understood the doctrine. Every trained British sniper knew to maximize the Lee Enfield's advantages of rapid fire and large magazine capacity while minimizing the disadvantages of simple optics. German tactical analyses from Normandy reflected growing respect for British sniper capability. A 7th Army intelligence summary from July 1944 stated, British snipers demonstrate improved proficiency. Their optical equipment remains inferior to German standards, yet their tactical employment and rapid engagement rates achieve superior results. British snipers engage at closer ranges than German doctrine recommends, but deliver greater volume of fire. Recommendation: German snipers should avoid extended engagements with British snipers at ranges below 400 meters, where British rate of fire advantage is decisive. This recommendation effectively acknowledged that German snipers with superior equipment should avoid close-range engagements where British inferior equipment proved superior. The admission validated everything British doctrine had emphasized: adequate equipment combined with superior doctrine and training beats. Superior equipment with inadequate doctrine. The Market Garden operation in September 1944, where Sergeant Marshall earned additional recognition, demonstrated British sniper effectiveness under desperate conditions. British airborne forces, surrounded at Arnhem and Oosterbeek, used snipers to multiply their defensive effectiveness. Operating from buildings and rubble positions, British snipers engaged German forces at ranges typically between 150 and 300 yards, urban combat distances where rapid fire mattered more than precise long-range capability. Marshall's achievement during Market Garden included 37 confirmed kills over 9 days of continuous combat. He operated from multiple positions, relocating after every few shots, using his Lee Enfield's rapid-fire capability to create the impression of multiple snipers. German forces believed they faced a sniper section when actually engaging Marshall alone. The combination of rapid fire, frequent relocation, and adequate accuracy at urban combat ranges made Marshall's single rifle as effective as multiple German snipers. The technical specifications of the Lee Enfield versus Carabiner 98 reveal why British doctrine emphasized different tactics. The Lee Enfield No. 4 weighed approximately 9 pounds empty compared to the Carabiner's 8.8 pounds. The Lee Enfield's overall length was 44.4 inches versus the Carabiner's 43.6 inches. These minor differences meant the rifles were essentially comparable in handling characteristics. But the internal specifications revealed significant differences. The Lee Enfield's bolt throw was 3.1 inches with 60-degree rotation. The Carabiner's bolt throw was 4.7 inches with 90-degree rotation. This meant cycling the Lee Enfield required approximately 40% less movement and 33% less rotation. Over multiple shots, this translated to dramatically faster sustained fire rates. Magazine capacity was perhaps the most significant difference. The Lee Enfield held 10 rounds in a detachable box magazine. The Carabiner held 5 rounds in an internal magazine. British snipers could fire twice as many shots before reloading, and even then could swap to a fresh magazine in seconds if they'd prepared spares. German snipers had to laboriously reload 5 rounds individually or use a stripper clip that required breaking their shooting position. The optical systems also differed significantly in ways that weren't immediately apparent from specifications. The British No. 32 scope offered 3.5 times magnification with a simple post-reticle. The German Zeiss ZF-39 offered 4 times magnification with a sophisticated ranging reticle. The German optic was objectively superior for precise range estimation and long-range shooting, but the British scope had advantages in rapid engagement. The simple post-reticle was faster to aim with at close ranges. The lower magnification provided wider field of view, making target acquisition faster. The British scope was also much more durable, being designed specifically for the abuse of combat service. German Zeiss optics, while optically superior, were more fragile and required careful maintenance. In the mud, rain, and chaos of combat, British optics continued functioning, while German optics often failed. The ammunition used by both rifles also revealed philosophical differences. British .303 ammunition was manufactured to adequate standards, ensuring reliability and consistency. German 7.92 by 57 ammunition was manufactured to exacting standards, ensuring maximum accuracy. In theory, German ammunition should have provided superior accuracy. In practice, the difference at combat ranges under 500 yards was negligible, while the British ammunition's looser tolerances meant it functioned reliably even when dirty or corroded. By late 1944, as Allied forces pushed into Germany itself, British snipers were encountering German Oaks Grenadier units with hastily trained soldiers. German sniper quality had declined as experienced snipers were killed and replacement training was abbreviated. Meanwhile, British sniper quality had increased as experienced combat veterans trained new snipers in proven techniques. The quality gap had reversed from early war when German snipers were clearly superior. During the Rhine crossing operations in March 1945, British snipers provided overwatch for assault forces with devastating effectiveness. Operating from positions on the Western Bank, snipers engaged German defenders at ranges of 200 to 400 yards. The sustained, accurate fire from Lee Enfields created suppression that enabled British infantry to establish bridgeheads with fewer casualties than anticipated. German defenders reported being unable to return fire effectively against British snipers who simply shot too fast to counter. The final statistics of British versus German sniper effectiveness validate British doctrine despite German equipment superiority. Precise numbers are difficult to establish because sniper kills weren't always confirmed, but available data is illuminating. British snipers achieved approximately 40,000 confirmed kills during World War II. German snipers achieved approximately 300,000 confirmed kills total across all fronts. But German forces fielded approximately 10 times more trained snipers than British forces, meaning per-sniper effectiveness was roughly comparable. More significantly, when examining engagement-specific data from Normandy, Italy, and Northwest Europe campaigns where British and German snipers met under comparable conditions, British snipers achieved approximately 1.3 German sniper kills for every British sniper killed. This positive exchange ratio occurred despite German equipment superiority, demonstrating that British doctrine, training, and the Lee Enfield's rapid-fire capability compensated for German optical and accuracy advantages. Individual British sniper achievements were remarkable. Sergeant Harry Furness achieved 178 confirmed kills. Corporal Francis Pegamagabau, a Canadian serving with British forces, achieved 378 confirmed kills across both world wars. These numbers, achieved with outdated Lee Enfields, exceeded many German sniper totals, achieved with superior carabiner 98s and optics. German post-war assessments acknowledged British sniper effectiveness despite dismissing British equipment. A 1946 analysis by former Wehrmacht Training Command stated, British sniper training and tactical employment compensated for inferior optical equipment. British emphasis on rapid engagement at moderate ranges proved more practically effective than German emphasis on precision engagement at extended ranges. The British Lee Enfield rifle, though antiquated in design, proved well suited to British tactical doctrine. German forces underestimated British sniper capability throughout the war, expecting equipment superiority to provide decisive advantage. This expectation proved false. This admission from German military professionals validated everything British doctrine had emphasized. Equipment quality mattered less than how equipment was employed. The Lee Enfield might be outdated, but British snipers had mastered its capabilities and developed tactics that maximized its strengths while minimizing its weaknesses. German snipers had superior equipment, but hadn't developed doctrine that fully exploited those advantages while countering British tactics. American observers operating alongside British forces were initially skeptical of British equipment, but grew to respect British results. A U.S. Army assessment from November 1944 stated, British sniper rifles appear obsolete compared to both German equipment and American M1903 A4 sniper rifles. British scopes are simple and low-powered, yet British snipers consistently achieve superior results in combat. This effectiveness appears to result from superior training, proven doctrine, and extensive combat experience. The British have optimized their tactics around their equipment's characteristics rather than attempting to copy German or American approaches. This American assessment captured the essential lesson. Effective military forces optimize tactics around available equipment rather than wishing for different equipment. British snipers didn't complain about their simple scopes or old rifles. They mastered those tools and developed tactics that made them devastatingly effective despite theoretical limitations. Before we conclude this story, if you're fascinated by how experience, training, and tactical innovation can overcome equipment disadvantages, please subscribe to our channel. We research the untold stories of World War II to bring you the real complexity behind simple narratives of technological superiority. Hit subscribe and the notification bell to join our community of history enthusiasts who appreciate that warfare is won by soldiers and doctrine, not just equipment specifications. The post-war fate of the Lee Enfield revealed how thoroughly British doctrine had been vindicated. While other nations rushed to adopt semi-automatic rifles after the war, Britain retained the Lee Enfield as its primary infantry rifle until the 1950s, and as a sniper rifle even longer. The rifle that German observers had mocked as outdated in 1939 was still serving effectively in the 1960s, outlasting many supposedly superior designs. British snipers continued using Lee Enfield variants through the Korean War, Malayan Emergency, and other post-war conflicts. In each case, the rifle's rapid-fire capability and reliability proved more valuable than newer semi-automatic designs that were theoretically superior, but less proven in combat. British military culture had learned that proven adequate is better than unproven theoretically superior, a lesson many armies still struggled to absorb. The Lee Enfield's ultimate vindication came from unexpected source: modern military forces studying historical sniper effectiveness. 21st century analysis of World War II sniper operations consistently concludes that British sniper doctrine was more effective than German doctrine despite German equipment superiority. Modern military training incorporates British emphasis on rapid engagement and volume of adequate fire rather than German emphasis on perfect single shots. Harold Marshall, whose story opened this narrative, survived the war with 147 confirmed kills, making him one of Britain's most successful snipers. He returned to civilian life in Yorkshire, rarely speaking about his service. In a 1978 interview, one of the few he ever granted, Marshall reflected on his experiences. People always asked about my rifle, said it was outdated compared to the Jerry kit. Maybe it was. But I knew that rifle. I knew where it shot at 200 yards, 300 yards, 400 yards. I knew how to work the bolt without losing my sight picture. I knew I could put 3 shots on target before the Jerry could get his second shot off. That knowledge, that familiarity, that's what made me effective. Not the equipment specifications, but knowing my tool inside and out. This assessment from a soldier who had outshot Germany's best snipers captured the essential truth. Military effectiveness comes not from having the newest or most sophisticated equipment, but from mastering whatever equipment you have and developing doctrine that maximizes its advantages. Marshall had mastered an outdated rifle to the point where it became an extension of himself, and that mastery proved more valuable than German snipers' sophisticated but less familiar equipment. The technical specifications that seemed to favor German equipment proved less important than factors those specifications couldn't measure. The Lee Enfield's 50 years of service meant British armorers understood it completely and could maintain it under field conditions. Its widespread use meant replacement parts were always available. Its simple design meant soldiers could repair it with minimal tools. Its proven reliability meant British snipers trusted their rifles completely, psychological advantage that specifications couldn't quantify. German equipment, while technically superior, lacked these intangible advantages. Zeiss scopes were optically perfect but fragile and difficult to repair in field conditions. Carabiner 98s were precisely manufactured but required more careful maintenance. German ammunition was supremely accurate, but less forgiving of dirt or corrosion. The German system optimized for theoretical perfection under ideal conditions, but proved less adaptable to combat reality than British adequate equipment optimized for reliability under terrible conditions. The comparison between British and German sniper systems illuminates broader lessons about military technology and effectiveness. Advanced technology provides advantages only if employed by doctrine that exploits those advantages. Superior equipment in the hands of inferior doctrine loses to adequate equipment employed by superior doctrine. And most importantly, soldiers' familiarity and trust in their equipment matters more than objective technical specifications. British snipers outshot German snipers not despite their outdated rifles, but partly because of them. The Lee Enfield's long service history meant British snipers had trained with these rifles extensively, understanding their characteristics intuitively. The rifle's rapid-fire capability enabled the doctrine, emphasizing volume of adequate fire. The large magazine capacity allowed sustained engagement. The simple, robust design ensured reliability under combat conditions. Each supposed disadvantage, when properly exploited by sound doctrine and extensive training, became an advantage. German snipers, equipped with theoretically superior rifles and optics, labored under doctrine that didn't fully exploit those advantages. German training emphasized precision single shots at extreme range, capabilities that German equipment could deliver, but combat conditions rarely required. German snipers were prepared for 800-meter engagements, but typically fought at 300 meters, where their advantages disappeared. German excellence in equipment design wasn't matched by excellence in doctrinal development. The story of Sergeant Harold Marshall and thousands of British snipers who outshot German competitors with outdated equipment reveals timeless military truths. Technology matters, but doctrine, training, and experience matter more. New equipment provides advantages only if exploited by tactics that maximize those advantages. And soldiers who master adequate equipment through extensive experience often defeat soldiers with superior equipment who haven't achieved similar mastery. The Lee Enfield rifle, mocked as outdated by German observers and even some British officers, proved to be exactly what British snipers needed. Its rapid-fire capability enabled doctrine emphasizing sustained, accurate fire. Its large magazine capacity enabled prolonged engagements without reloading. Its proven reliability ensured it functioned regardless of conditions. And its 50 years of service meant British snipers understood it so thoroughly that it became an extension of their will. They mocked his outdated British rifle until Harold Marshall and thousands like him demonstrated that mastery of adequate equipment combined with superior doctrine defeats possession of superior equipment without equivalent mastery. The outdated Lee Enfield, in the hands of experienced British snipers who developed tactics maximizing its strengths, proved more effective than modern German rifles in the hands of snipers whose doctrine couldn't fully exploit their equipment advantages. The wooden stock worn, smooth by years of use, the simple post reticle that looked primitive compared to German ranging reticles, the bolt action that seemed obsolete in an age of semi-automatic development, all these supposedly outdated features combined to create a weapon system that dominated its supposedly superior competitors. Marshall's Lee Enfield, outdated by specification but perfected by experience, outshot Germany's best snipers because Marshall understood what German snipers with better equipment had missed. Warfare rewards those who master their tools and develop doctrine, exploiting those tools' strengths, not those who merely possess superior specifications. The supreme irony was that Germany, famous for precision engineering and technical innovation, was outshot by Britain using 50-year-old rifle technology. German scientists and engineers had created superior optical systems, more precise rifles, better ammunition. But British soldiers and trainers had created superior doctrine, better training systems, and deeper understanding of how to employ adequate equipment to maximum effect. In the final accounting, British doctrine defeated German technology, proving that military effectiveness emerges from the synthesis of equipment, training, and doctrine, rather than from equipment quality alone. Harold Marshall's Lee Enfield, battered and worn after 4 years of combat, killed 147 German soldiers despite being outdated, obsolete, and inferior by every technical specification. It succeeded because Marshall had made it part of himself through thousands of hours of practice and hundreds of combat engagements. The rifle's outdated design didn't handicap Marshall. It enabled him by providing rapid fire, large capacity, and absolute reliability. What German observers mocked as obsolete proved to be exactly adequate for the mission, and adequate equipment mastered completely beats superior equipment understood imperfectly every time.